started making false claims about its services to the state.
Indeed, the minority has discussed this topical issue and will be moving processes in Parliament to ensure that there's full-scale investigation. Because we do not believe that there's value for money. This contract is a rip-off.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. The special prosecutor has tonight been petitioned to probe the Finance Ministry, the Ghana Revenue Authority, and private firm Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited (SML) over the questionable $1 billion contract for revenue assurance in the petroleum downstream, upstream, and the gold mining sector. Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited had been awarded a separate contract worth up to 24 million cedis monthly to monitor under-reporting, diversion, and dilution of fuel products and general non-compliance in the petroleum industry, something the NPA, that is the National Petroleum Authority, was already doing. The firm admitted to Fourth Estate investigators that they made false claims about its services to the state as it relates to alleged savings. Today, the NDC minority has demanded an immediate suspension of the new contract awarded by the Finance Ministry. Now, Joy News is also learning firms in the mining sector are raising their own grave concerns about the new deal that will see the private firm pocket 0.75% of the total amount of gold that is produced and monitored in Ghana. Now, more on all that pretty shortly. But first, here is an excerpt from that investigation led by lead investigator Manasseh Zuriawuni.
Despite the robustness of the system, the GRA has contracted a third-party company that is taking credit for all the gains made in the sector, making unsubstantiated claims of revenue savings and receiving millions of cedis for a service whose impact or relevance is difficult to ascertain. SML Ghana Limited started what it calls revenue assurance services to the GRA in the downstream petroleum sector in June 2020. The managing director of the company, Christian Tetesoti, says SML is an offshoot of a timber company he will not name. Mr. Soti was Ghana's Controller and Accountant General from 2005 to 2009 and currently a board member of the Internal Audit Agency. He was an Assistant Commissioner of the GRA, and as of 2019, the same time the GRA entered into the agreement with SML, he was the Technical Advisor to the Commissioner General of the GRA. The GRA is the only customer of SML since its establishment.
They didn't have any experience before they started doing this work. There were experienced companies around. There was no bid for this kind of transaction. And suddenly they have become the superior audit institution for the petroleum downstream sector that is getting all contracts. And you ask yourself, what does it take to actually get such contracts?
This is just by inference. Everything shows that somebody was connected, somebody knew about the contract, set up a company, no history in IT, no history in audit, no history in forensics, no history in what we call revenue assurance in telecoms. None of it. And it is given this contract. Now, if I'm to ask my colleague who did that process, that when he was shortlisting to pick the company, what pre-qualification criteria did he establish? And what would have been his reason for choosing that? My next question will go to PPA. When the application came for approval, prior approval for single sourcing. What pre-qualification did they assess? What was the evaluation? What did the evaluation report say about the company and its capability to do the job? And on what basis was that approval given?
Mr. Soti left his job as the technical advisor of the GRA Commissioner General in 2019 to manage SML Ghana in 2020 when the company started its operations for the GRA. SML has its flow meters attached to the pipelines at the depots and records volumes of products that flow through the pipelines and give real-time records of activities at the depots. The Fourth Estate also confronted the managing director of SML with the figures the company churned out as savings it made because of its operations. First was the claim in April 2021 that SML saved the state 1 billion Ghana cedis due to its operations.
If you use the 2019 as a base,
Yes. Yes.
subtract this one, you will get 1 billion for 2020.
It's 800 million.
Okay, about 800 million. Okay.
Yes.
The company started operations in 2020. From the revenue figures we obtained from the GRA, the difference in the total revenue from the downstream petroleum sector between 2019 and 2020 is 800 million cedis. If all the increment was attributed to the work of the company, it will still fall short of the 1 billion cedis it claimed to have saved. In February 2023, SML Ghana Limited again claimed that it had saved 3 billion cedis due to its operations. The company has admitted the services it listed on its website as curtailing irregularities in the sector did not exist and deleted them from the website. Even if SML was carrying out those services and all the incremental revenue within the period of its operations was credited to the company's efforts, the amount would be 2.4 billion cedis and not 3 billion cedis as it claimed to have saved. When we put these figures to the managing director, he made a shocking admission.
That's why that 3 billion, I'm not. That's why I told you from the beginning. I said I don't know about this 3 billion.
We cannot say your intervention saved 3 billion.
No, I said 3 billion. I'm not. I've told you that I'm not aware, because when we were told about the publication, we even called the.
As we speak this morning, still on your website.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Eva, to be honest, I don't even know website matter.
Despite evidence that SML Ghana lied about the services it renders to the state and the amount of money it claimed to have saved, the finance minister, Ken Oforiatta, this year decided that the company's contract should be expanded to cover the gold mining sector and the upstream petroleum production sector in Ghana.
Potentially, and I use potentially advisedly, we consider it duplicitous. However, we have agreed that we want to meet with them and understand the real rationale for which they also want to do an automatic tank gauging system. It doesn't matter if their automatic tank gauging system is supposed to gauge the tanks at the depots, whilst our system gauges the tanks at the filling stations.
At the end of our second day at SML Ghana, however, we were convinced that the company, with the help of Ghana's media, had made false and unsubstantiated claims and is paid millions of cedis in a deal that appears to lack value for money. A few hours after our meeting, some of the claims began to disappear from the company's website.
We were shocked at one point when government said they were bringing in SML to actually sit at the depot where the product is lifted. And in fact, that is where there isn't much problem. Because when the product is lifted, MPA is able to see, how much product has been lifted through their tank gauging systems and also the metering systems at the depots. So that was never the problem. The problem really was, how do you track it to where the tax is actually collected or is supposed to be collected for you to be able to make the money. So from day one, the importance of SML was questioned by all the industry players. You can talk to all the players in the sector and they will tell you that where SML is positioned, they cannot be doing revenue assurance for the state.
SML Ghana, like other private sector service providers, was engaged to curtail huge losses in the downstream petroleum sector. Some oil marketing companies, OMCs, which lifted petroleum products from the nation's depots, sold the products and refused to pay hundreds of millions of cedis of the tax, levies and margins components on the petroleum products. Through these services, SMS claims that it has saved the nation billions of cedis of revenue that would have been lost through under-declaration and other anomalies in the downstream petroleum sector. Our investigation has, however, revealed that the company's claims are false and unsubstantiated. For instance, in a report released in April 2021, the company made the following claim to back its operations. Quote, "The leakages in this sector are due to diversion of petroleum products for re-export back to the domestic market and also under declaration of volumes lifted for the domestic market. The authorities have been grappling with this problem over this period because of the inadequate knowledge by the GRA officers to appreciate volume measurements. From our investigation, it emerged that the GRA officials understood the volume measurements more than the SML staff. The GRA said SML churned out erroneous figures when it included interdepot transfers to the taxable volumes and used that to calculate revenues. Petroleum products from one depot to the other cannot be used for tax purposes because it is only taxed when the product is lifted from the depot and sold to the public for consumption." Also on the website of SML, it stated its services as follows. Quote, "The SML digitalization of downstream petroleum product measurement has stemmed the tide of underreporting, diversion, and dilution of fuel products and general non-compliance in the petroleum sector. Officials of the Petroleum Division of the GRA expressed shock when we put the listed services of SML to them."
Well, today, the minority in Parliament, they've been wading into this controversy, and the minority spokesperson on the Mines and Energy Committee, and he is also the ranking member there, John Jinapo, is demanding an immediate suspension of this contract that has been extended worth $100 million a year.
Well, contracts between the government of Ghana, led by the Ministry of Finance, and SML Limited to undertake some so-called assurances, revenue assurance. And first of all, let me commend the fourth estate, Manasseh, and the media houses who conducted this investigation. Indeed, the minority has discussed this topical issue and will be moving processes in Parliament to ensure that there's full-scale investigation. Because we do not believe that there's value for money. This contract is a rip-off. This contract only ends up filling the pockets of greedy politicians and individuals, because just a couple of weeks ago, the Mines and Energy Committee visited NPA and were made aware that they've put in place enough systems, enough mechanism, enough infrastructure to ensure that all the loopholes and all the losses are safeguarded, and that they've even hooked up with the Ghana Revenue Authority to ensure that all those assurances are catered for. And so the question is that why would you need this? Even more importantly, it's turned out that the so-called 3 billion savings was nothing but a hoax. We cannot allow the taxpayer to be burdened with such unnecessary contracts that only go a long way to fill the pockets of individuals. And so we would advise that immediately that contract is suspended pending the parliamentary investigation. And when we go into it and we find out that indeed all those allegations are true, we would ensure that this contract is abrogated because it doesn't serve the interests of this republic.
And I want to bring in Manasseh Zuriawuni. He's a lead investigator, and he's been doing this with his colleagues at the Fourth Estate. Manasseh joins us via Zoom. Manasseh, tonight you have petitioned the special prosecutor. Tell us more.
Well, Evans, we petitioned the special prosecutor this afternoon, and our letter has been received. And we have the assurance that something will be done about it. The basis for our petition is the evidence we gathered that this company could not even stand up to its claims. When we asked JRA officials about what the company claimed to be doing, they were even shocked. When we spoke to MPA, they felt that there were some duplications. And players in the industry, we spoke to some operators at the depots behind the scenes. Some may not go on record for obvious reasons of victimization and the rest, but all that they said was this company is doing nothing and taking so much. And it is true because the companies that are actually providing services, you could say that this company, for instance, Rock Africa, is undertaking the cargo tracking to stop diversion. You could say Nationwide Technologies Limited is undertaking fuel marking to stop dilution. You could say the ERDMS, which the MPA connects to the customs system, ensures that companies that abscond with taxes and others are locked out of the system. They are not able to load. But if you ask anybody in the industry, what problem is SML solving, they won't be able to tell you anything. The only thing they say is that they record figures for the GRA. Interestingly, the GRA, which has contracted them, does not use their figures for revenue assurance. And so that is what shocked many when we saw that Ken Oforiatta, the finance minister, now wants this same company that is admitting to falsehood to go into the oil production sector and has a percentage of whatever that is produced, and then to the gold sector. So the basic request to the OSP is to investigate this deal for corruption and also the possible breach of the procurement law, because we are told, and they said that GRA is the only customer, their only customer, meaning when they were single sourced, handpicked for this contract, they hadn't had any experience anywhere. Mr. Soti, who is the managing director of the company, said this is an offshoot of a timber company, and we have no evidence, and they couldn't say what other experience they had before they were handpicked for this contract. So these are the two main issues we want the special prosecutor to investigate.
And Manasseh, talking about this contract extension, which brings what they will get to some $100 million as you estimate in your piece. If you read the contracts which you've cited, they get a 0.75%, $0.75 per barrel a day. I mean, that's what they're going to get from this deal, if indeed it is that contract is executed for the upstream monitoring. And then if you look at what they may get, if this contract is executed for the gold mining firms monitoring, they also will get their 0.5% of whatever is mined, whatever the total gold that is mined in Ghana. That's quite a lot. That's what you've used to estimate how much they'll be making over the period.
Yes, the gold sector is actually 0.75%, which is about 25% of the royalties Ghana gets from the sector. And in the gold sector, if you look at the last year's figures, if you use last year's figures, they should be getting about $50 million a year for doing nothing. And we have spoken to experts in the industry who say that there is absolutely no need for this company to get into that sector. So they'll be pocketing $50 million from that sector. And then the upstream sector, we are currently producing 160 to 170,000 barrels per day. And if you do the $0.75, that means if you're producing 160,000 barrels per day, this company is going to get 120,000 US dollars per day. And you ask yourself, what are they doing? And if you add that to the downstream sector, which they are already making sometimes up to 24 million cedis every month, you should be getting close to 110 million US dollars at the end of every year. And these are the staggering figures that when we compare to what we are getting from the e-levy, for instance, it's more than what we get currently for the annual e-levy collection. And we checked the budgetary allocations to ministries for 2024, and 19 out of the 27 ministries will receive less budgetary allocation than what this company alone will make in a year, for absolutely nothing that anybody was able to point us to when we investigated.
And let's be clear, this $0.75 per barrel that they will get in the upstream sector when they monitor is going to a private company, and then separate from the 0.75% share of every ounce of gold that is produced, a total production of gold that we churn out in this country. I want to bring in John Junapo, who is a spokesperson for the Minority on Mines and Energy. Also joining us is the Executive Secretary of IES, the Institute of Energy Security, is joining us also via phone. Mr. Junapo, today you've asked for an immediate suspension of this extended contract. Since this happened, this press conference, have you received word that this is something that the Finance Ministry and the GRA is willing to pull brakes on?
No, except that in confidence and in private, some people in GRA have expressed reservation about this contract. Indeed, a couple of days ago, the Mines and Energy Committee visited the NPA. And from the briefing we got from the NPA is already put in place what they call the ERDMS, on which all oil marketing companies and their orders from the BDCs are placed. Indeed, all imports and domestic production data is also placed on this platform. And no industrial transaction from a depot can go on legally outside of the ERDMS. In fact, ERDMS is also integrated with GRA's ICOM system for validation and tracking on the side of GRA Customs. And so clearly, the NPA has the capacity and has put in place all the necessary checks and balances to ensure that there's revenue assurance. We therefore find it very, 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 very surprising, mind-boggling, and unfortunate for the Ministry of Finance to proceed with this dubious contract with this company. We find this contract very, very dubious, unnecessary, a duplication of work. They add no value, and yet they are receiving huge sums of money. But even the bottom line, and we keep asking this question: if this country was a company and it belonged to the finance minister as a shareholder, would he do what he's doing? I mean, you just waste the taxpayers' money for nothing. Duplication of work. And our checks indicate that GRA is benefiting nothing from this SML company. That is why we are pushing dialogue. They should immediately suspend their work. In fact, NPA told us that they are 80% complete with the entire value chain assurance system. And that sooner than later, it will be 100% effective and there will be no leakage. So why bring this company? And why can't we build the capacity of NPA to do this job? Must we necessarily bring in the private sector?
Well, the chief executive told Manasseh and his team that they themselves are surprised about this, and that he sees the workers duplicating what they're already doing, that they'll be seeking to engage SML to understand what exactly they're doing, why they want to do something they're already doing. I mean, that's a surprise that the MPA chief executive, the MP is a state agency, GRA is a state agency, and all of them appear to be in the dark on what was happening by a company that was making huge claims about revenue assurance.
This was equally confirmed when the whole committee, the Committee of Parliament, I mean, Manasseh has done a good job. But I'm saying the Committee of Parliament, the Select Committee, when we went to NPA, they told us that they were in the process of satisfying all the requirements in collaboration with GRA. And yet you are extending it into the mining sector. Look, let's call a spade a spade. This is nothing but an attempt to create, loot, and share. That is the simplest way to describe this contract. And it's for 10 years. I mean, why?
Well, I mean, the SP, the special prosecutor, has been petitioned now. I guess judgment on that will be reserved until we see that outcome of the probe. By yourself, you saying that you want Parliament to also probe into this?
Yeah, that is our opinion. We did not even know that Manasseh would go to that extent. And as the people's representative, we thought that, look, members of Parliament should get into it. Except that sometimes MPs are compelled to take partisan positions. And that is where my worry comes from. Something that is very clear, for instance, the COVID investigation, we all knew what was happening. And yet, because we are protecting our individual political interest, people just take a partisan position. It was the same with the cash for seed. And so I'm happy that the special prosecutor is been brought into the fray. I'll brief the minority leader, and I'm sure that will determine the next line of action.
Thank you very much, John Junapo. Also joining me, as I indicated earlier, is the IAS Executive Director who joins us now. And then I'm waiting. Thanks for your time here on Top Story. Knowing what you know about the downstream and upstream sector and what is already in place in terms of revenue assurance and monitoring, what do you make of this revelation that another agency, another private firm, claims to be doing the same job?
Thanks for having me, Ivan. It is two things. Either of them may be the truth. Either the government doesn't trust the very system that exists in place, of which it has control over and meant to regulate, monitor both the quality and quantity of products that move within the system. Or is a deliberate plan designed to create wealth for a few group of people. And we believe that the latter may be the truth, that this is designed to create, loot, and share. Because as we have it today, Ivan, we have systems in place to check product quantity and layers of system. I mean, the MPA, National Petroleum Authority, exists to carry out such a mandate. The Custom, Excise, and Preventive Services also exist to cross-check the quantity of product that comes into the system, not just the not quality, but the quantity. And so this is a clear duplication of tax, something that we are paid for to be done for the country. You go and contract somebody else to come and put what? A flow meter to check. A flow meter that can have a calibrated problem as the only means to check the product quantity. Even this is thievery and nothing else.
But however, Nana Moisi, isn't there a case to be made for redundancy in these matters? Considering where we are economically, you have to be absolutely certain that even if you have two layers, put in the third layer to have redundancy in there to cross-check or to make sure that what the figures you're getting is actually what it is. Couldn't this be the reason why this SML deal is important?
Even there are many backrooms. We have backrooms that exist in the system. You know, for every product that comes into the system, it is marked. We are paying another private company to mark this product to ensure that this is the amount of product we are bringing in as gas oil, gasoline, ATK, and whatever. And so if you're talking about layers or a backup, we have many that exist. And for God's sake, I am not sure that even the revenue authority relies on this individual or those private companies' figures. they will still call on MPS figures and they will still rely on such figures. I think that this case must be interrogated because it is hard to steal from Ghanaians and nothing more.
Well, I mean, as on the subject of pronouncing judgment on this, it's going to be subject of a special prosecutor investigations, and so. Nana, thank you very much. However, we're not in a position yet to say if it's thievery or not. The OSP, now that he's been petitioned, will give us an indication of what he finds when he goes into this. As you heard, there's also another angle being pursued by the minority in Parliament on that subject already. All those will produce outcomes that then gives us a certain clear picture on whether or not this is something you can label as what you've heard and we see label it as, but we can call it so just yet. Manasseh and Co. just gave us the facts. The OSP will have to ascertain if indeed it has led to corruption. And that's where we are tonight. Manasseh and his team, great job with that as we see what we find from this as the special prosecutor gets to go into this. News Night starts now.
Live on Joy 99.7 FM. Coming up on Newsnight, President Akufo-Addo comes under criticism as the Speaker Alban Bagbing and Ningo Prampram MP takes him on, describing his refusal to sign some private members' bill into law as not only tragically wrong but unconstitutional as well.
I totally, vehemently disagree. The President has got it tragically wrong. This message and the contents are irregular, wrongful, and unconstitutional.
So you have a president who is not just behaving like an executive president, but behaving like an imperialist president.
Meanwhile, Majority Leader assures that the controversial anti-LGBTQ bill, which is also a private member's bill, will proceed through Parliament, despite President hinting he will not sign it into law.
You heard the Speaker. He has expressed disagreement with the President, and I've told you that the House will deliberate on the matter and come to a determination on that. Until we come to a determination on that, I believe that what you are doing will proceed.
And once again in Parliament, there was a clash between Ghana's Speaker and the Majority Leader.
You don't even know what I'm going to say. Majority Leader, you are not the first timer in this House. I know. I'm not the first Speaker. Yes. Please resume your seat. Votes and proceedings of Saturday, 16th December 2023. Page 1. What is this preemptive strike? Page 2. Majority Leader. What is this? Page 3. What is this that you are seeing in Ghana's Parliament?
We have details of that, and Ho Central MP Benjamin Kodo accuses Ministry of Finance of non-compliance with Supreme Court rulings on computation and release of funds to District Assembly's Common Fund. Details as he threatens legal action to force the ministry to comply. Also tonight, we hear from the Electoral Commission as they plan to phase out the use of indelible ink, starting with the district-level elections tomorrow. Then they're daring anyone to attempt cheating the system if in doubt of the capability of the BVDs.
There is no need for indelible ink because once you have been verified, it goes into the system and you cannot come back a second time. So you can try it if you wish at this election.
And we hear the opposition of the NDC as they strongly raise concerns about the decision, claiming it would not ensure transparency and wants it reversed.
All fraud in election are fraud. There's no big and they're so small. And I doubt if this proposition will solve the issue.
And in business, be prepared to pay at least 21% more for some goods and services from next month if Parliament approves amended value-added tax bill.
In sports, Joy Sports sources reveal Asante Kotoko's Richmond Lamte and Hartlepool's Salifu Ibrahim included in Black Stars' 50-man provisional squad for the AFCON.
And later tonight, we'll take you to Tanfiano DA Basic School, where students are sandwiched between the drowning noise of sheep and the noise of passing cars and motorcycles while they seek the best of education in a cemetery. And much later,
you have a lame duck president.
Well, that's his language. I am still the president of the republic.
And much later, the throw of words by Ghana's number 1 and number 3 on the lame duck matter. We have that and more in tonight's edition of News. Now, you want to join us with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp 055-1111-997. I am Emefa Apawu.
And my name is Evans Mensah. Details after this.
Merry Christmas!
Uncle Yofi, what's the Wi-Fi
Wi-Fi password. I'll be downloading the music set for the party. Janice will stream old McDonald's for the kids. Mommy said she'll be trying a new YouTube recipe for oven grilled chicken. Daddy!
No worries at all. I've got 200% bonus data on my Vodafone fixed broadband this Christmas.
200% bonus data? Woohoo! It's giving Christmas vibes. Vodafone be doing the most this Christmas.
Celebrate Christmas with 200% bonus data when you pay 2 months of your Vodafone fixed broadband subscription. Simply dial *900# or visit My Vodafone app or myvodafone.vodafone.com.gh to sign up or upgrade your offer. Vodafone, further together.
It's Christmas and Orca Decor is offering 15 to 60% off everything in store. Gift your loved ones things they would actually love, like exclusive toys, furniture, decor, and more. Make Christmas merry again with up to 60% off everything at Orca Decor. Visit us at Accra Mall and Spintex Road today.
Ready? Let's go. We all go bring some savannah.
Everyone is dancing, everyone is singing, because everyone is painting with Savannah. Savannah paints from Azar are affordable enough for everybody to fulfill their paint needs. Paint more, pay less. Savannah paint, we all go paint some.
We all go paint some Savannah. We all go paint some.
It's raining beautiful goodies at Meydan Home Deco this Christmas.
Joy to the world.
Our stores are wide open and ready to treat you this Yuletide. Meydan Home Decor has all the essentials to decorate your home. Christmas decorations, throw pillows, vases, photo frames, and many more. We assist clients create their personal and corporate hampers with our exquisite gift items. Your bedrooms will come alive with our high-quality bed and bath products made of 100% Egyptian cotton. Our international brands such as Canon, Fieldcrest, Waverly are leaders in offering the most comfortable pillows, towels, bed in a bag, duvets in amazing colors and textures. It's a good time of year to give your home a facelift. Meydan is ready to give your home a simple yet trendy look. Look out for us in Accra, Junction, Achimota, and West Hills Mall. Follow us on Instagram. Meydan Home Deco. We bring quality and comfort to your home.
Welcome back. This is News Night here on Joy 99.7 FM. Evans, let's start from Parliament. And there's an assurance that has been given once again that the work on the controversial anti-gay bill will proceed despite the president signaling he will not sign such private members into law. 2 amendments to the Criminal and Other Offences Act to abolish the death penalty and prescribe accusation of witchcraft sponsored by Medina MP Francis Xavier Susu and passed by the House in July have all hit a snag, with the president explaining the offence to the Constitution.
Well, the president in the communication to Parliament points to Article 108, insisting that the private member bill cannot sponsor bills to impose a charge on the consolidated fund, and that commuting a death sentence to life imprisonment imposes a charge on the fund and should have come from government. Now listen to the Speaker of Parliament reading the president's letter to the House.
Upon a thorough review of the relevant constitutional and legislative frameworks, specifically Article 108 of the Constitution and Section 100 of the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921, it is evident that the bills introduced as private members' bills by the Honourable Member of Parliament for Medina constituency, Francis Xavier Susu, do not conform with the provisions of the Constitution. These bills, which abolish the statutory death penalty and criminalize the activities of witch doctors or witch finders, entail substantial financial obligations on the Consolidated Fund and other public funds of Ghana due to the projected costs related to imprisonment, sustenance, and healthcare for those who will be convicted under the bills when they become law. Therefore, in light of this significant fiscal impact, these bills should not have been introduced without prior fiscal impact analysis, nor without my initiation or on my behalf. The absence of such an analysis precludes these bills from being properly classified as private members' bills. The legislative power entrusted to Parliament comes with the responsibility to ensure that all enacted laws comply with the constitutional provisions safeguarding the nation's fiscal integrity and upholding the principles of governance. Mr. Speaker, it is for the above reasons that I, in preserving the sanctity of the legislative process, refused to assent to the bills.
Let's go to Parliament now. Kweku Asante is a man on the ground. Kweku, so that's what the President told the House today. The Speaker disagrees.
Yes, Evans, while the Speaker read this letter, there was a smirk in his face. Clearly, he wanted to read this to articulate his own views. He says within this week, he is going to put out a detailed statement on the floor of the House on why the President is completely wrong. But even before that, he did not miss an opportunity to vent his pain, accusing the President of acting unconstitutionally.
I definitely, totally, vehemently disagree with the positions taken by the President. The President has got it tragically wrong. Tragically wrong. And I will submit in the form of a statement under Article 53 my position in this matter, and allow members of the House to make comments so that we can take a clear position in this matter. And I will do so during the course of this week. The President has not been properly advised, and the President has not been properly informed of the processes these bills have gone through. So I will submit a detailed write-up on it for members to make their comments. But I'm very clear that this message and the contents are irregular, wrongful, and unconstitutional.
And Kweku, it appears the communication from the President has left some of the sponsors of the anti-gay bill pretty uncomfortable. Why?
Yes, in fact, this will mean that, let me go back a bit. The reason the President gave, principally, for not signing the 3 bills sponsored by Francis Sosu was that they imposed a charge on the consolidated fund. So take the death penalty abolishment law, for instance. It commutes the death sentence to life imprisonment. The President's argument is that if he commutes the death sentence to life imprisonment, it is the state that will have to take care of this person in prison. So that will impose a charge on the consolidated fund. If you compare that with the anti-gay bill, which also imposes a custodial sentence of at least 3 years on any person found to have engaged in LGBTQ activities, then that similarity is clearly drawn. And so you would see some judge on the floor at the time really trying to talk to colleagues to try and understand why the President was taking this. And some people in Parliament have interpreted this to say that this was the President sending a signal to the House that do not waste your time on this anti-gay bill. If it comes to my desk, I will not sign it because it did not emanate from that. But if you have some time, there was a clash between the Speaker of Parliament and the Majority Leader who was up on his feet to try and get some comments through on what the Speaker had said, but the Speaker asked him to resume his seat. He wouldn't budge.
To allow me to make any statement. You don't even know what I'm going to say.
Majority Leader, you are not the first timer in this House.
I know.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not the first speaker.
Yes.
Please resume your seat.
Mr. Speaker,
votes and proceedings of Saturday, 16th December 2023, page 1.
What is this preemptive strike on
page 2?
The Speaker, the Majority Leader. What is this?
Page 3.
Parliament. What is this that you are seeing in Ghana's Parliament?
Page 4.
What is this?
Page 5.
Kweku, did he finally resume his seat?
Yes, he did, but he got his voice back later on. He actually met journalists just a short while after that and actually bent his plane. He accused the President, he accused the Speaker of Parliament of unfairly attacking and vilifying the President, and that if he wanted to bring a statement, he knew what to do under the standing orders to do so, and that the Speaker of Parliament was just abusing the processes.
The bills that have been passed by Parliament, that is, those ones seeking to commute death sentences to life imprisonment, amount to taking people who otherwise would have been summarily executed and then imprisoning them for life. There are monetary considerations. If you want to imprison somebody, he goes to the prison, he has to be fed, he has to be taken care of. If the person is sick, the state will have to take care of that person. And we are going to have to take money from the consolidated fund to do that. So the president was only saying to us that what he has done, we have done. In his considered opinion, he thinks that it infringes Article 108A, Roman number 2, and Roman number 3. This is all that the president has said to us. The speaker says he disagrees with the president's opinion. That is legitimate. If the speaker disagrees with him, it's legitimate. And he could have ended at that I disagree with the opinion given by the speaker, by the president. And maybe I also come with my own understanding of the law. That is it. But you also saw and heard the rather visceral language of the speaker. I thought it was most unfortunate. I thought it was most unfortunate for a speaker, and I get up to be identified. I was just going to say that, well, I thought the communication is to the entire House. Because the bill was passed by the House, not the Speaker.
So, Kweku, what will the House do now with the anti-gay bill?
Well, with the panic mode that is currently setting up within the sponsors, I asked the majority leader directly what is going to happen, because the president has signaled clear interest that if you pass this bill, I'm not going to sign it. The majority leader acknowledges that there's a concern there. But since because the Speaker of Parliament has expressed a strong disagreement with the opinion of the president, his understanding is that the consideration of the bill will continue until at a time they pass it or reject it and leave the president to decide what he wants to do next.
You heard the speaker. He has expressed disagreement with the president, and I've told you that the House will deliberate on the matter and come to a determination on that. Until we come to a determination on that, I believe that what we are doing will proceed. And you remember the crafting of the bill, I have been deeply involved, and I proposed a number of amendments that have been taken on board. So to the extent that a final determination has not been made, I believe we can still.
Well, so Evans, let's bring in Francis Xavier Susu. He's a private member that sponsored these three key bills, and that's the communication that we are getting from the president to the speaker. Whilst we wait for the speaker's direct submission on this matter, let's bring him in. We are grateful for your time here on Newstime, Mr. Francis Xavier Susu. So really, what options are available now, knowing how important these bills will be?
Well, I don't even know what to about options, because the constitution is very clear as to what should happen. And I think that, as Speaker indicated today, the President, in the memo by the dictate of Article 106, 7 and 8, was supposed to tell us exactly the provisions he had issues with and what recommendations he was making. Obviously, that wasn't what happened today. So I think it's quite bizarre. I mean, the processes we are going through. It would appear to me that what the president has done or communicated even in the memo today did not meet the constitutional requirements of what should be in a memo to Parliament when you desire or when you choose not to assent to a bill. So clearly raises a number of constitutional issues, issues that could perhaps be litigated all the way to the Supreme Court, and then Parliament also has its own way of dealing with some of those matters. And some of the infringements can even go to the heart of the oath of office by the president, and could even be a basis for, starting an impeachment proceedings against him, because he is violating the same constitution he has vowed to protect.
How is that? Because he clearly quotes to you Article 108, insisting that a private member cannot sponsor bills to impose a charge on the consolidated fund. How then do you say that? At least we've heard the Speaker also say he was tragically wrong in that regard. I'm sure you hold that view as well, and why?
Well, the point is that the President does not determine the limit of Article 108. Article 108 is applied by the person presiding at the time the bill or the motion is introduced. When the person has gone ahead to admit that motion or that bill, it does not lie in the mass of the President, very, very respectfully, to say that because of Article 108 you cannot assent when the bill has gone through all the necessary processes. And with the greatest of respect to the President, I think that he is being misled. Or better still, he's choosing politics over protection of human rights. He's choosing politics over protection of women's rights. He's choosing politics over protecting vulnerable women in various witch camps who are struggling, who are dying on a daily basis. And you remember that since this bill was passed, particularly the witchcraft bill, more than 5 people have already been killed, again, on account of witchcraft accusation. And so for me, it's quite bizarre and quite strange to me what the President has chosen to do. Because in each of these processes, Attorney General has been involved. In each of the process, from the time these bills were introduced way back in 2021, in fact, we paid courtesy call on the Presidency. And the President endorsed the bills and actually called for a cross-party approach to passing them. So it's so strange that at this very, very belated hour, the President will now be making reference to Article 108. And again, with the greatest of respect to the majority leader, he was talking about Article 108 in respect of financial implications. The witchcraft bill was first initiated by him and our former minority leader in the 7th Parliament. In the 7th Parliament, they began the process of the witchcraft accusation, except that process was truncated when the 7th Parliament was dissolved. So what are we talking about? I mean, I think that for me, I am quite worried because it's about the greater good of our society. It's the utilitarian value of these bills and nothing more than that. And for me, for the President to choose, petty partisanship over the protection of the greater good of our society, the human rights of our people, for me, it's quite sad. And you recall that when these bills were sent to the President, on the 2nd of August, the President assented to the bill that abolished death penalty for ordinary crimes under the Criminal Offences Act. And it was only when the other bills were presented that when he refused to assent to the others, then decided to withdraw assent for the first one. So the whole thing doesn't really make sense to me.
Well, we'll see how it goes in the coming days, because the concern is what other options then are available. Are there other processes that will trigger, or this is the end for these bills, you'd say?
Well, there are several options that we'll continue to explore until these bills come into law.
Okay, that's Francis Xavier Sosu there. He's a key sponsor of these 3 bills that we're talking about, and it looks like events are also casting its shadows when it comes to the anti-gay bill, which is raising concerns for the key sponsors as well. But let's head into the central region. Let's mine lithium, shall we?
Yes, let's do that. Well, after Ghana signed the mining lease with Barari DV Limited for the mining of the lithium in Awoya and other communities in the central region, several CSOs and citizens have spoken about the poor nature of the agreement, arguing the state could get more than has been agreed. Now, tonight, the residents in the communities are also demanding better public sensitization of the deal to help them appreciate the development. They've been speaking to head of the energy desk here at Joy News, Samakoto Brace, who spend time in the community.
Most of the people here don't even understand what they are coming to do. So they should have thorough mass education for us. Because they told us, even if you resist, the government has the power to do it, because the mining or the mineral resources belongs to the government.
That's what they told you?
That's what they told us.
Atlantic Lithium.
They had a forum with Friends of the Nation, that it's an NGO, and they came to join. They explained to us that what they are coming to do, per the Mining Act, if they destroy something, they have a compensation they have to pay They have this. So they are basing anything on the law. And unfortunately, they say parliaments are yet to approve. So they show us a sample of what the parliament went through. They said it's yet to be approved by the government. And per what they are saying, it seems like we are handicapped. We are a small community here. And even the leaders, if your leaders have accepted it, it means if you are a youth advocate, you can't do anything about it. And even the step they told us to go through before you can read them, it's a whole lot of things. And you remember Ghana, we have a lot of bureaucracy.
Actually, we don't know what is going to take place finally. Okay. You understand? Okay. But from what we have been told, if the proper thing will be done, that one we can't say maybe no, because
but you live here. What do you think about the sentiment of the people? What do you pick from what they say?
From what they say, yeah, I can say majority, maybe more than 50%, and not in full support.
Head of our energy desk, Samuel Kojo-Brace, joins us in studio. Let's take a look at this particular community. Paint a picture to us what it looks like during your visit.
So this is a community in which the residents' preoccupation is to produce charcoal. So if you know how charcoal is produced, probably it should tell you how it is. Now, these are people that either the person is farming and they only plant trees so they could bend them for charcoal. That's all they were doing. And they're just about 15 minutes drive from the main highway, the main Mankesim Cape Coast highway. Okay. But because of the nature of the road, that's why you would drive for 15 minutes. And the work they were doing was to produce charcoal. When you move from Ewoya to Ekrofol, it is just one lane. So when two cars are coming, one has to stand at a far distance for one to pass before you could come. Two cars cannot. It's only even motorbikes you might struggle. So that's and if it leads you to such community, you'd imagine. And this is a community that when you get there, you could barely count everybody in the community. For example, Ewoya, you could count the houses and count the number because they said there were 300 people, and that's how it is for Krofo. Krofo is a little bigger than Ewoya, but that's also far. So these are communities that, but for this, I am not sure anybody would intentionally say, I'm going to.
Evans, you know Ewoya?
No.
Okay.
First time I heard about it.
So how to get to Ewoya? When you get to Mfantiman Girls, Salt Pond, after you pass Mfantiman Girls, it's about between 5 and 10 minutes from Mfantiman, then you branch right to Ewoya.
So you interacted with the residents, we've heard them, not just them, you also interacted with the chiefs of the area.
Yes.
They already raising concerns about the percentage that they are going to get for their development levy, amongst others. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, the chiefs, they were asking me questions, and unfortunately I couldn't afford them the answers, but they were asking, why did government argue for an increment in the royalties from 5 to 10%? And increase their free carried interest from 10 to 13%, but left their development levy at 1%. So they say that once government was able to argue for more for what is coming to its account, obviously it could argue for more for what's coming to the community, because they are going to bear the brunt of every negative impact if that should happen.
So what are they asking for?
They're asking for, I mean, between 3, they are quoting 5, but they say, if you give us 3%, that's fine.
Nti why you share when you na me can honor because we 5% why in 10.
So if they are drafting an agreement, they should do it well, because for the 1%, I haven't heard them increase it. Why haven't they increased it when that is coming to us? They should increase it. If they can increase the 5% to 10%, then they can equally increase our 1% too, because the populations of the communities are growing in size. When I came here to school, this was a very small village, but today look at how grown it is. Every community grows. So if the share of the communities is 1%, then government should have thought about us well when it was planning. At least if they take it to 4 or 3%, that would be fine.
4% and
negotiations.
So that's Nana Kwanzaa the second, who is chief of Krofo. Now the chief of Ewoya, who he has really seen at first hand the impact of it because some of his people have been employed. So he says that
already.
Yeah. Oh, some of them have worked with the company for 7 years.
Oh yeah, because the company has been prospecting.
Yes, I mean, and the salary range the guy quoted for me.
How much?
You have to wait for the full report.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then don't tell her just yet. wait for the full report. But but I got a wind of it when he reached you over the weekend to say, Evans. I want to relocate your way.
No, please, we beg.
So he for him, he wants the job to start in earnest, but he's also arguing for an increment in the development fund, but has a message for government. Listen.
Abai to no ye ma 10% no ejina wa meme the full say no mum ye 1% no na me kire say on the extra abai on fe bin kan.
I think if government can agree with them on the current conditions for them to start the mining operations, it will be good. But for our 1%, we plead with government to increase it. Again, the consolidated fund, they want to put that 1% in. We Nananum disagree. We want that to be put into our own fund to be managed by us and the company for easy access to the revenues. This will help us implement development plans easily. If we get 5%, we will like it. So government should look at it. We're proposing 5%, but if they get us 4 or 3%, we'll appreciate it.
Nti abano onje ya start 5%. Nti abano onyo kan na say ebesi 4 3 yeso ye ne baje hu. Okay.
Interesting.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's an interesting development there, but they've put their demands on the table.
People are already benefiting.
People are already benefiting.
Yeah,
jobs already created because
yes.
this community had been, this mining firm had been there prospecting and now want to go into production. I'm looking forward to this full report. Which is going to be airing from tomorrow on our social media platforms as well. I mean, every story is about the people. I mean, they hear what the people are saying. Those who are already benefiting, they've gotten the jobs. They want more jobs. And then the chiefs are also negotiating for more for the community. And you see how they've separated the amounts, right? They've looked for theirs and say, why haven't you increased that for us?
Yeah,
they understand it.
Yeah,
exactly. They do.
That's intelligence there. That look, you're arguing for the best for yourself. Why not argue for same for me? And they're also warning that look, that money, don't let it go into consolidated fund.
Yeah, bring it straight.
We want a separate account so that we can have easy access to it. We don't want to go to MC.
Drop it into the consolidated fund and it gets missing.
No. Let it come to us. Okay. Let's see how that goes.
Well, Brace, thank you very much for that great reporting there. We'll look forward to that full report. It's still listening to News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM, and I'm looking forward to the quack story that has been making the round since we heard from the speaker. What is this all about? This tussle between number 3 and number 1.
You have a lame duck president.
Well, that's his language. I am still the president of the republic.
And George, your face here with business. You're not lame duck, are you?
No.
Are you going to have some duck for Christmas?
Maybe turkey will not be bad. Just thinking about Thanksgiving Day. But you know, some of us who come from the central region will not be bad too.
I prefer duck.
Okay, I prefer duck.
The rich men are speaking.
Because it's quite. I'm told it's very nutritious in terms of the nutritional value. That the duck presents, it was better.
Not of the presidential type, just a normal duck.
Okay. Oh, really? I see. Some of us who come from the central region, we want to see whether we can relocate back to our region because of how much they are paying people in a way. Even though I'm from Cape Coast, so I don't know whether.
Very close to you, so maybe.
What do you have in the headlines, George?
Well, Evans, coming up in business, be prepared to pay at least 25% more for some goods and services from next month if Parliament approves the value at the tax amendment bill. I'll be getting you more details on that one. And government makes significant progress with bilateral creditors to aid IMF board meeting and cash disbursement on January 11th next month. The business news on News Nights is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntax Tanks and Pepsodent Charcoal and Herbal.
Imagine strutting into the most anticipated wedding of the year. Only to see 7 other girls wearing your exact same outfit.
You are special and one of a kind, and that's why whether it's voice, data, or SMS, you get to enjoy personalized offers tailored to your specific needs with MTN Just For You. Dial *141# or select your options on the My MTN app to redeem your unique Just For You package on Ghana's best mobile network. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302-764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
No matter your water needs, Syntex has it all. Syntex Tank was first to introduce double layer tank, and now you can have as many layers as you want. Syntex Tank was first to introduce white inner layer tanks in Ghana, and now introduces the customer specs order, which will let you order any color and size you want. Syntex Tanks gives you the biggest warranty of 7 years, which no other tank gives you. So whatever your water consumption, size of project, or demand, choose Syntex Tank. Syntex Tank, stress-free. Syntex Tank, reliable. Syntex Tank, maximum guarantee. Call 0244-335-168, Kumasi 0505-555-666, or visit syntexgh.com. Syntex Tank, a strong, a tough.
It is your time to vote for your assembly members and unit committee members. So get involved and vote.
Citizens of Ghana, this is an urgent call from the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE. District level election is here again. This year's election will take place on the 19th of December 2023. Every 4 years, Ghanaians are enjoined to elect citizens to serve as assembly and unit committee members to help facilitate the development of your community and the district. The time to exercise that civic duty is now. On Tuesday, December 19th, 2023, visit your voting center between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. with your valid voter's ID card and cast your vote to elect your preferred candidate. Remember, democracy begins at the local governance level. Your vote counts. Vote for development change agents. Vote for Ghana. A message from the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE.
Before Ogun, the god of fire, I stand on oath.
By popular demand.
You force words from me again? You big Sarah!
The biggest play in the history of African theatre is back. The gods are not to blame.
We sent you all the way to Ileife to bring us greetings from Ifa. Alright, we greet Ifa. Thank you.
Monday 18th, Tuesday 19th, and Wednesday 20th December at the National Theatre at 7 p.m. each night. Yes, for 3 nights only. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see Olarotimi's classic tale of fate, The Gods Are Not to Blame, for the last time in 2023 at the National Theatre. Tickets are selling now for only 150 cedis at www.imagebureaugh.com or dial *711*11*25#. Supported by Joy FM and proudly brought to you by Image Bureau in partnership with April Communications and the National Theatre.
Media Sambisanda Moa. It's your Munu, I panic to be Vietnam, put on Pemu Maniacono. Eh, Quabna.
na mumu wants to me just mali in a day. And crow, corporate to me number don't be sense or you super accident ever. I didn't buy the braye. Who see it in a mobile na some man I want it. Sir, I need na could you soon you super accident chaco. Then dear a mouse when you could fit that. No, what you ask you my mother feel you. Hey, Kojo, sir. Yeah. Pepsodent ever and a Pepsodent chaco. A idea. You're gonna natural.
FDIJ Trading Katuyatu.
The luckiest. Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Keep buying your luckiest ticket with star 712 hash as an individual, a group, an association, or even a community, and stand a chance of winning in the community draw or the ultimate draw on 23rd of December. Be the luckiest on star 712 hash and win millions. Ticket sale starts on October 4th, 2023, and draw date is on 23rd December 2023. Play responsibly, not for persons under 18 years. This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform. Win millions on star 712 hash.
The luckiest. You could be the luckiest.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, be prepared to pay more for some goods and services from next month. Now, that is if Parliament approves the VAT Amendment Bill currently before the House. This could see prices of some goods go up by more than 30%. Now, one service that could be affected is the motor insurance premiums that we are certain that could be going up at least by 30%. Abeku John Kwanzaa is a tax partner at accountant and auditing firm PricewaterhouseCoopers.
If Parliament approves the bill as it is, we are expecting that VAT would now apply on domestic air travel, VAT would now apply on postage stamps, VAT will now apply on some imported books. So to answer your question, it is not just non-life insurance, but there are a number of things that the bill currently before our Parliament are looking at. And is for one to say that under this IMF program that we are under, there are a number of things that government ought to do, including demonstrating that we can raise the needed revenue to deal with our debt situation.
And I was coming to that. So if that's happened, that it is approved by Parliament, which means it will take effect from January 1, right?
That is, if Parliament does not amend the bill to give it a different effective date or a different date that is enters into force, then yes, from 1st of January, if there is no alteration made to the versions of the bill that we have seen now, then that would take effect from 1st of January.
Abeku John Kwanzaa is a tax partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, speaking to my colleague Pius Kojo Baka. Now, government is insisting that it has made some significant progress with its bilateral creditors to aid the new IMF board date for Ghana. Now, this was after the IMF scheduled January 11, 2024 for this meeting on Ghana's program. There is more in this report.
Government is now more optimistic that it will secure the second tranche of the IMF cash by the middle of next month. This was after the IMF rescheduled for the meeting to review Ghana's performance under the fund program to January 11, 2024. The board meeting is also expected to approve the disbursement of some $600 million to the country. This optimism, according to government, is based on some significant progress that it has made with China when it comes to restructuring of its debt. Joy Business has also picked up that the initial concerns that China had with it comes to the test date on restructuring of its debt have been resolved. All this government believes will ensure the memorandum of understanding will soon be issued by the official creditor committee to push for the board meeting as expected. The IMF board meeting has been rescheduled by more than 3 times due to some concerns expressed by China, one of Ghana's major external bilateral creditors.
And that is a business desk report. Meanwhile, financial economist Professor Lord Mensah is casting doubts over concerns that delays in having this board meeting will have little impact on the economy.
It's not that I'm raising panic or a situation of putting some fire, in what is happening. But I can tell you for a fact that it's not a good signal because we all know we went into the program for the purpose of, getting some inflows to support our balance of payment. And so we have plans for the monies that we're supposed to get from IMF. And then also we have plans as a result of if we should get a relief as a result of the debt restructuring. If we get a buy-in of external creditors, we're going to indirectly more or less save some interest payment and all those. So all those things are in plan, playing a role in our fiscal space. And so we cannot say that if we do not get it, there's no cause for alarm. There is. There's a tendency of possibility of having a shock in our what do we call it, exchange rate space.
Financial economist Professor Lord Mensah. Now ADB is taking steps to raise up to 2 billion Ghana cedis from its shareholders through a right issue. The bank is therefore seeking shareholders' approval to an extraordinary general meeting next Thursday, that is December 28, 2023, to get shareholders' approval for this transaction. The bank will be seeking shareholders' approval so the board can move and buy some shares on the Ghana Stock Exchange as well. The move is, however, subjected to securing the necessary regulatory and market approvals. The Bank of Ghana recently announced that banks may have up to 2 years to fully recapitalize to meet the new levels. Now, the economy continues to show signs of strong recovery. Now, this is based on the new report issued by the Bank of Ghana covering economic activities for the third quarter of this year. There is more in this report.
The central bank's own tool, which tracks economic activities in the country, showed that domestic activities had improved for the third quarter of 2023 compared to the same period in 2022, however at a slow pace. The Bank of Ghana, for instance, cites indicators like consumer spending, manufacturing activities, industrial consumption of electricity, and international tourist arrivals, which picked up during the third quarter review. Another development that can be described as significant is the fact that consumer spending measured by domestic VAT collections and retail sales improved significantly compared to the same period in 2022. Again, other macro indicators like the trade numbers were also doing well. The report, for instance, showed that country's trade surplus picked up strongly for the last quarter of this year compared to the same period in 2022. The Bank of Ghana even puts the country's international reserves at $4.9 billion. Despite these numbers showing that the economy is on a strong path to recovery, there were also data from other sectors which could back arguments that Ghana is not out of the woods yet when it comes to the economy.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, former Power Minister Dr. Kobna Donko is raising concerns about the outlook of the energy sector. It follows government assurance that it has put in place measures to prevent sustained power outages in the coming month, as well as dealing with the financial challenges facing the Electricity Company of Ghana. Dr. Kobna Donko says that he is not convinced by these assurances coming from government.
It is not just the load shedding. We have fundamental issues with the energy sector. One, we are not recovering costs. Remember, the payables in the energy sector are dollar denominated. The receivables are cedi denominated. So when you run a macro economy in which your currency depreciates virtually by the week, then we have a situation. Therefore, whilst your payables are dollar denominated, your receivables are cedis. So you are going to need a lot more cedis to pay for your IPP and all the other charges. That is why.
Are you worried about the outlook of this sector going forward?
Absolutely. Because first of all, we are not getting the needed investment. There is no managerial drive to reduce costs. And there is all this legal baggage that we are carrying along because of the recklessness of officialdom.
And Dr. Kobna Donko is a former Power Minister. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Emefa and Evans.
Thank you very much, George. And guess who's joining us in the studio with the latest? Hello, Mr. Kranti.
Hi Evans, hi Emefa.
Hi Danny.
Straight into the stories. And Asante Kotoko's Richmond Lamte and Hearts of Oaks Salifu Ibrahim have been included in the Black Stars 50-man provisional squad for the AFCON, according to Joy Sports sources. The duo are among 5 Ghana Premier League players who are known to have made the list sent to CAF. The remaining 3 are Midiama Trio of Jonathan Soa, Abdul Fattah Hamidu, and goalkeeper Felix Che. It still remains unclear when Black Stars boss Chris Hughton will name his final 27-man squad for the competition, but the 5 local-based players, particularly Richmond Lamte, have received massive support from football fans to make the final cut. Participating countries will have to publish their final squad list before the January 3 deadline set by CAF. Injured players in the final squad can be replaced no less than 24 hours before their team's opening game, following approval from CAF's medical committee. That's all for sports. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Danny. Now, let's talk about our schools of shame, and we take you to an extraordinary setting where, amidst the serene backdrop of a cemetery, educators. Sorry about that. I'll take you to Tamfiano now, and Evans Mensah will join us as we take you to Tamfiano DA Basic School, and it's an extraordinary setting where, amidst the serene backdrop of a cemetery, educators at Tamfiano DA Basic School contend not only with each other's voices, but also with the regular grazing of sheep that mingles with the noise of passing cars and motorcycles. Seyram Abla de Souza has this week's episode of Ghana Schools of Shame.
Nestled in the heart of Tamfiano, a serene village in the Nkranza North District of the Bono East region, is the Tamfiano DA Basic School, a school with a unique set of challenges. It is the first school I have seen that serves as a burial ground and a sheep's pen. Yes, a cemetery and sheep pen sandwiched school, or describe it as between the final resting place of the departed and the bustling activity of a sheep pen. Teachers here are forced to compete with each other's voice as well as the rhythmic grazing of sheep, creating a sound that contests with the disharmony of honking cars and the persistent grinding of motorcycles passing by. Their pupils also struggle to focus in class due to the same factors serving as a constant distraction to the pursuit of knowledge within the school.
Say your school muhai enye ade papa say ye betina masua de nti.
We feel uncomfortable when learning. The bleating from goats, conversations from passers-by, and moving cars distract our lessons. We can barely hear our teachers when they teach.
Class so cars
we are pleading with authorities to build the school a new structure for us. There are no classrooms, no furniture, and no teaching and learning materials.
Since I need to cook at the battery, same cognac, young cognac free, fear by any animal kids. So I say, we don't be by no sooner cognac, will be on your cognac, no at nothing. The best lab and so bad boy and Amayanya school, come at them. Say, yes, yeah, dear Crana, one. It's number being to very class of Canada, yeah, Pamom.
The animals sometimes enter our classrooms while we are learning, and we would have to stop and drive them away. Our attention is always divided because while listening to the teacher, you're also tempted to focus on conversations and activities going on outside.
I decided to experience it for myself, so I pitched camp at the footing of the junior high school JHS 1 class, and I could hear everything. Here, the JHS 1 pupils are learning science, the JHS 2 pupils are having their mathematics class, and the JHS 3 have social studies. But as I sit here in JHS 1, I can hear everything that is happening in the second and third classrooms. So there is a challenge here at the Tamfiano DA Basic School. Now, the history. Until 2016, the school lacked a JHS wing. Pupils aspiring to continue their education beyond the primary level had to embark on a journey spanning approximately 4 miles to Bodom or Kokuma. The construction of the JHS wing, achieved through communal labor, marked a milestone in the school's development. However, for 7 long years, the community has hung on to the hope that authorities would transform their makeshift pavilion into a complete classroom block, providing a conducive environment for teaching and learning. Unfortunately, this dream remains unfulfilled, and the school continues to grapple with the shortage of teachers, inadequate accommodation, and harsh conditions.
Community is nurse school down is from a The community has tried its best in building the school. The current classroom they are using was built by the community. So we will urge the government to help develop the school and also post more teachers to the community.
The community, undeterred by the myriad of obstacles, continue to hold on to the hope that one day their school will be transformed into a haven of education, free from the distractions that currently pervade its grounds.
So that's the situation in Tamfiano and, rhythmic grazing at the school. Interesting. It's a very sad situation from what Sayram tells me.
It is. You just have to watch the full piece on our social media pages. It's also going to be on myjoyonline.com and of course on the Prime, which starts at 7. And there's a play that I know you're looking
tonight?
Forward to.
You're going with me?
I'm looking forward to that, at least.
Did you
for the
do
very
literature?
First time. I did, yes.
Okay, I'm a science student. I didn't get to do all that, but Olat wrote me that gods are not to blame.
Yeah.
If you haven't read it, I think it's a good opportunity for you to watch this play put together by George Quay and Nashoko. Really, it's happening tonight. 3 nights only.
The stage performance is actually better than the book.
Yes,
I must say.
always better. Always better.
And I love the effects that he manages to sort of weave into this on stage. It is brilliant.
Never done on any stage in Ghana. You want to watch it. It's tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday evening, all at 7 p.m. starting right about now. Let's meet there.
If you're not heading there already, please do. You see Emefa Apawu in the studio. I see.
And we are both in black. We're getting ready.
At her mesmerizing best, yes.
Am I?
Well, let's talk about
Lame duck.
Yes. I'm gonna have a piece of that for Christmas. You say you want chicken.
Yeah.
You want chicken. I mean, George says he wants to do turkey. But there's a fight now that has been going on between the Speaker of Parliament, number 3.
Yes.
And
what is
number
your
1.
Number?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
What's yours?
You don't have a number.
Well, the number 3 and the number 1, they be fighting over a duck. Why?
Listen.
You have a lame duck president.
Mr. Babin says I'm a lame duck. Well, that's his language.
A lame duck because you have elected a flag bearer and loyalty and commitments are shifting.
I am still the president of the republic and I will continue to be so until the 7th of January 2025. And I have no doubt that the power to make decisions and to carry out policies is still firmly in my hands, and I'm not going to let it go.
So your president is now lame duck president.
I don't know what he's talking about when he says lame duck. He has his own understanding of that, but I am not a lame duck president.
Well,
quack.
We'll leave it there. And you can catch it on our social media platforms as well. And talk about DAX. What's healthy for you this Christmas? You want to stay with our wellness and health and wellness series coming up next. We have a repeat of that instead of That's My Opinion. You want to catch Dr. Yawo Safo, Dr. Joyce Lithium, and Norte Dua right up to this. I am Emefa Apawu.
And my name is Mensah.